radar. So they are definitely popping up in a bright shade of color. We also have some gusts popping up. We did have that report from the airport, 63 mile per hour as the storm went through. So that's lagging behind. That is not the current 63 mile an hour. That's when that storm went through. But we are at the top of Good Morning Iowa this morning. So we just want to pause, let you know that we are in continuing storm coverage as these storms have moved through. They've moved in from Nebraska, and they were in Nebraska crossing over to Iowa. In Nebraska, there were at least 3 confirmed tornadoes on the ground, observed on the ground through reports. And so we have not seen any observed tornadoes here in the state of Iowa, but we certainly have had several tornado possibilities. We've seen several rotations that could have briefly touched down a tornado, but nothing observed at this point. The big threat this morning is the big wind coming through, the brief tornadoes, and secondary to that, we've had some hail this morning, mainly for the cells down to the south. But so far this morning, it's been the wind and the potential for the tornadoes. This is pretty broad at this point, but you can see some of these brighter colors to the northwest of Kelly. But that's a little bit broader than I think it was even moments ago, right, Chris?
It is a little bit, but it's certainly some strong rotation overhead. Just pulling into the Ames area right now, so we're taking a little bit of a power surge here. Hopefully we're still with you on air. But coming into Ames right now with a good area of rotation overhead and a tornado warm storm. If any of these circulations do hit the ground, you'll see these tornado warnings turn pink, and that will denote that tornado has been spotted on the ground. So you see the area of rotation. It's fairly broad. It is a stronger wind rolling into the south side of Ames. I'd say anywhere along Highway 30 in the Ames area. Well, just the entire community of Ames needs to be seeking shelter, but I would expect the threat to be right around Highway 30 right now as that continues to pull northeast. Getting through the south side of town, it looks like where that circulation is going to be passing overhead. Strong turbulent winds over the Johnston area as that area of circulation passes over the radar site. So we'll be watching some of our eyes in the skies there. Several wind reports coming in. You saw me sampling a few of those out of Boone. I believe that was 54 miles per hour. We had Perry earlier to 63, 53 at our studios in West Des Moines, and I'll tell you that's a feat considering just how protected kind of the area is that we are in. So it could definitely be stronger out of that. Severe thunderstorm warning till 5:30 for the entire Des Moines metro. That is going to be for wind that is 60 miles per hour, and that's definitely been observed, definitely all along the line. We move further to the south into Warren County. I think that's where some of our strongest wind is currently coming in right now. Stay away from windows if you are within this severe warned area. From about Highway 65, 69 off to the east, you move back towards St. Charles and New Virginia, you're out of the threat with this one, but this would be targeting places like Pleasantville down through Melcher and Dallas, and areas just north of Sheraton, north of Highway 34, excuse me, with some of the strongest wind potential out of there. Looks like we have a little bit of an update. Bree, what would you say? Would you call that a debris signature there coming in just to the west of Ames?
Can you back it up a little bit and we can see if we can see that it...
My first indication is that it could be, but we'll watch it in another scan.
The closest that we've seen, in case this is the area, oh, sorry.
So I'll get it back.
That we were watching. This is the area that we're looking at. This is typically what you see. A debris ball just kind of lowers the colors. What this product does is it shows things of different sizes. So generally your rain's going to be the same size, your hail's going to be the same size, so that shows up as these reds. But when things are different shapes, such as debris, tree branches, shingles, then it shows up as a different color. It takes on these blue colors. So this is an area that we're watching. This is just north of Highway 30. So this is the first scan that we're kind of picking it up. maybe it started off just to the south of Highway 30. Is this the new scan, or is this?
This looks
did you
like a
back
new
up?
scan.
This is a
So,
new scan. So we don't see it right now, which is definitely positive news. That's what we want to see. We want to see that go away. But anywhere else along the line, I'm not seeing anything in the way of a debris ball.
There is another little appendage over Huxley that I would say we need to watch that is kind of sticking out here. I'll get the scope on it. That is technically in the tornado warned area. Don't have the latest update on that, but we'd be looking over Ankeny right now for that circulation getting into town as well and continuing to move to the east with time. There is some chatter that is, we're looking at TDS northeast of Indianola, so let's go down there and check it out, Bree, and that is going to be a confirmed tornado.
We have a confirmed tornado. Okay. We also have a lot of power outages in the area. So as these storms move through, they are taking down a lot of the power lines, or taking down the power. So make sure you have things charged. Here is the debris ball signature just to the northeast of Indianola right now. So this is moving up towards the direction of Ford right now. So if you are in the Ford area, you need to be in your safe space. Anywhere between Carlisle and Ford, you just need to be in your safe spot. You're in Ford, you're about to get the heaviest part of the wind moving through, the initial surge of wind moving on through the area. But yeah, we are
right there
watching this area just to the northeast of Indianola. And this is continuing to move off to the northeast. So let's see what
this is the latest update. This is where it would be. So it looks like we had a brief signature on the debris detection that denoted some debris in the air. It's that pinpointed ball just to the northwest of Ackworth, northeast of Indianola, and then it's gone. Possibly a brief tornado there. Radar confirming a tornado that did transpire into Warren County. This threat near Palmyra right now, moving to the north and east with time. I'm going to put a track on things. We want you to take shelter if you're in Swan. We have the Hartford area in there as well. Monroe included on that on down the line. We'd get Sully by 5:43, Grinnell at 5:55, and Montezuma, should this one hold, way down the line into Poweshiek County at the top of the 6 o'clock hour.
Yeah, this storm is moving at the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So at this point, it was a radar confirmed tornado. We obviously don't have the sun up yet, so it is difficult for any spotter out in the field to see these tornadoes. But we do have it confirmed on radar with that debris ball that you saw. Luckily, it was only one scan, I believe, with the debris ball, was it? Or
it was one scan,
okay.
And no confirmation on that one that we were kind of questioning in Ames, but it was also one scan as well. And I did mention it to the National Weather Service. Hopefully, we kind of they can look into it and see if they agree or not. But right now, we're running 3 tornado warnings, and I'll tell you, the one of most concern right now would be coming out of that Boeing segment down into Warren County. This won't get into the northern portion of Marion County, southern Jasper as well. So heads up, anywhere from Hartford to Swan to Monroe, you are in line for seeing this tornado. There are a few spots that we're typically watching for tornadic activity along line segments. It's right at the tip of the bow, and then right where that bowing segment starts to turn back and not bow. So in this instance, back to the north, and this area of circulation would be in that latter area that I mentioned at the moment. New scan coming in. This is some storm interactions, so likely some turbulent interactions with those 2 storms merging together allowed that area of rotation to punch its way to the surface. I think we're having a hard time punching through that lowest stable layer of air here this morning as far as those tornadic circulations, but the rain is certainly, and the downdrafts are certainly strong out of this entire line as it moves through. Anywhere from the Minnesota state line down through Fort Dodge and Ames and Des Moines down through about Sheraton area right now is where the strongest section of this storm currently is. And of course, we're watching that tornado warning. I'm going to put the scope on it. Hopefully we have some newer data coming in near Swan. You need to be in your safe place right now. The data a bit older on the velocity signal right now, but off to the east and north and east with time. Should this one continue, it will be in Monroe and then Sully as we move through the next half an hour for this tornado warning. We do have 2 tornado warnings in place, but we've now watched the circulations move out of those. So for all intents and purposes, those warnings no longer exist. So looking in the, well, we have more areas of circulation to watch, new tornado warning, but we're watching these little hooks, those tails coming out of the front end of these cells. Just to the east of Ames at the moment is a new tornado warning. This tornado warning goes until 5:45.
So yeah, we were with this one for the next 35 minutes. So we should also clear some areas that the threat has ended for you guys. So areas like Grimes, you guys are out of it. Johnston did have a 58-mile-an-hour wind gust that did pop on through as these storms went, but you guys are out of the threat of the tornadoes at this point. So we have debris detection up again. I think we're watching that little ball right there.
Yeah, so back towards 5:01, that little ball right there, and you notice that as I go back to where the warning is and the trajectory that storm was taken, that lines up with that circulation that was. So I'd be fairly confident in saying we had a brief tornado on the southwest side of Ames, especially with the extension of that warning coming in. There's some circulation there that we are definitely watching. Right now, north and west of Nevada, you see that shearing zone there. And now a couple of minutes delayed. It seems we're getting slow products into our weather system here today, but this is that shearing zone. The green is running to the south, generally a southerly direction here, and the red is running away. So it is fairly broad over the span of a couple of miles, but that would be that area of rotation we are watching as that tornado warning continues to the north and west with time. Parts of this area were hit on Tuesday night as well, so a little on edge for communities like Nevada over through Colo and Zering, just enduring a tornado. And then there's another little circulation to the west of Maxwell. We'll have to watch that for you as well. Right now, not tornado warned. And I'll tell you, the one that caused that tornado warning in Polk County, here's where it is. It's between Bondurant and Elkhart at the moment. And so those little appendages, you can see those little curls coming out the front side of the storm. We're getting a new set of data to sweep in. Coming in right now. Hope to get a good look at that. Hopefully we can see something new popping into view.
Say that again, Simon.
It is pushing into northeastern Polk County. There it is, that next little appendage. North of Bondurant, I'd be watching that area as well, some circulation in there. Velocity signal is a bit old. Again, we had a confirmed tornado down here into Warren County, very near Palmyra. Now that is currently located over Swan, very close to Runnels, moving north and east. Monroe, you need to stay in your safe place. So the area of rotation that we'd be watching there, there's a couple of spots shearing along that line. Right here, a very far bottom left-hand portion of the screen, and then by Palmyra. But again, this data now at least a few minutes old as it's now starting to update in front of our eyes. But look at those screaming winds that are coming in behind it. We have some strong signal there for possibly as high as 70-mile-per-hour winds along this line as it punches through.
And we should also mention we have some damage reports coming in. So Rockwell City at 4:15 this morning, there was a semi blown over, trees down in that area. So that's what you can expect as this line of storms moves on through. If you are thinking you need to head to work, you just need to wait for these storms to pass. They are quick movers this morning. Earlier, they were moving 50 to 60 miles per hour. Now we're seeing more 40 mile an hour with these storms movements, but it's still quick in and out. Perry right now is reporting several large trees down, 3,500 people without power. So if you are out ahead of this line, make sure you have your charger, everything charged up and ready to go. So if you do lose power, you do lose us on the TV, you can still track us on your phone. We are streaming live. Right now it's 5:13. We are in Good Morning Iowa, but we are doing extended coverage with these tornado warned storms going through the area at this time. So as we look at this segment right here that Chris has, this Boeing segment, this is going to be very strong wind. So Pleasantville, you're just on the front edge of this strong wind. Knoxville, it is coming at you. But we are kind of watching this notch area That's just to the northwest of Swan. We're seeing this velocity. Now, this is up in the air, 92 miles per hour. As it translates down to the ground, it probably won't be 92, but we have seen a report, one isolated report in the 70s. They're generally staying in the 60 mile per hour range, 50 to 60 mile per hour range here in the area as they move on through. But certainly a wind risk, wind damage as this moves on through with these straight line winds. And then as we look up to the north, we're seeing that area just to the east of Hartford right now. There is just that little tick in the bow that we're watching the notches in those areas. So as we look up to the north a little bit further, it looks a little more broad.
It's muddled right here, but
Yeah,
we'd be
it's
watching
right
north
there.
of
Yep,
Nevada.
just north of Nevada, but it's hard to tell on this picture, but yeah, it's just these pixels right here that we're keeping our eye on just to the north of Nevada. And thankfully, we're not seeing any debris ball at this point, but this storm is also moving off to the east-northeast. So Colo to Zeering, again, these are the same areas, the same towns that we were talking about on Tuesday, but yeah, same areas that you guys need to be aware that just be down in your shelter, be in your safe space. We'll talk you through this. We'll get you through this. We'll be with you as these storms continue to move off to the east-northeast this morning.
New tornado warning.
New tornado warning. Okay, so this one we've got until what time, Chris?
6 o'clock.
All right.
So this does include the northern portions of Jasper County. I would already say the threat, well, I guess the threat is very near the border between Polk and Jasper County at the moment. Should this one continue on, it will clip Story County and then get into Marshall County with time. So this is one of those little appendages I was telling you to keep a close track on. So this is the area coming up, Highway 330 is where we're watching. North and east of Bondurant would be one of those areas that we're watching. So little small scale circulations here and responsible for at least a brief tornado out of Warren County. That's why this tornado warning down here closer to Swan and Monroe is in the pink, and that's because that one did produce a brief tornado. I can go back and show you here as we move over to debris detection. And there was a similar little indication of this back towards Ames as well. And I'm going to back up the data right here at 5:03. You see that little ball that popped up just north and east of Indianola? That is an indication that we did have some debris that was lofted in the air ever so briefly, and then it was gone. So more than likely we did at least have a brief tornado there. I don't see a strong couplet at all, mind you, at this stage, but based on the latest data I have right here, it's in north of Pleasantville by about 5 miles and headed towards Monroe. I will say it's probably much closer to Monroe at this point, and Reesner as well, and Sully, you need to continue to be in your safe place.
Yeah, we're getting some more reports in Webster City up to the north in Hamilton County, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this. There was some thunderstorm, there was some damage reported in the Pleasant Hill. That came in as an M-ping though, so it says some shingles and a 1-inch tree in diameter down. So we are continuing to see these reports stack in. We're also seeing power outages as another issue. We're talking Calhoun County, nearly 6,000 people without power. Madison County, nearly 5,000 people without power. So if you are ahead of this line, make sure you're plugging things in, keeping things charged as these storms are racing and bringing a lot of wind with them. We have seen one report this morning of a 75-mile-an-hour wind that did go through Greenfield earlier this morning, but generally at this point, 50 to 60 mile per hour, 63 mile per hour winds are kind of the top edge of these reports coming in right now. So this looks pretty muddled right now. If you can see these are lagging as well, but some of these are just personal stations. So as they move through, as these storms move through, it does pack a punch when it initially hits, and then you just have some breezy winds behind it. Shear detection is picking up some of the brighter colors. We have some of that cyan just to the east of Pleasantville right now. We could back up to the Runnels area. As we scan further north, this was the area that Chris was picking out the debris ball earlier. Still a little bit of shear being picked up on the shear detection. keep in mind this does lag just a little bit, so put this a little bit further off to the northeast, these areas of rotation. But quite a few tornado warnings still in effect. These go until 6 o'clock, 6:15, and so they're continuing to move off to the northeast, generally around 40, 45 miles per hour.
This is a big area of concern right here.
Yep.
I think just coming out of Polk County, this would be very close to Mingo. It's not showing up on the screen. I'll zoom in just a little bit, and we'll get it to come in. This one is moving to the north and east with time, the area of rotation, basically right along Highway 330 as it draws its way further up to the north. And that's a strong hook that's pulling in right there. And I'm looking at GR. We do have a TVS showing up in our data suggesting that there's enough rotation there to warrant that tornado warning. And down into Warren County as well, I'm still seeing kind of that shearing zone. Nothing specific about it denoting a strong couplet. As this one approaches Monroe, that is some old data. I'm sorry we have to deal with this morning, but it seems like we're dealing with a bit of a data distribution issue here. And it's not just us. This is across multiple platforms and multiple different sources of that data. Unfortunate it is, but it seems like the reflectivity is working the best. That's why we've been kind of sticking with it for a while. But that pronounced notch there, moving into Jasper County, extreme northwest, riding right up the angle towards Marshalltown and Highway 330, Highway 65 right there at the moment, and then extending up towards Zeering, that tornado warning as well. So there are a few spots, a little bit of those hooks that get going, particularly in those stronger nooks where we see a sharp change in direction in the reflectivity, where it goes from east, west to north and south. That's where we have a lot of the threats this morning. So there's another little one right there as well as that one approaches Zeering. If you are out along and ahead of this line of thunderstorms moving through in those red areas, you need to be in the lowest level. Interior room is going to be the best place to be to keep you safe. No windows. Put as many objects between you and the outside as possible. So watching, we did have a confirmation of a tornado near Indianola to the north and east of town. That is why that tornado warning was previously pink, now red, moving to radar indicated status. So it does appear that was brief, but still, that means that anywhere into these warning areas where we have the red, there can be a brief tornado drop down at a moment's notice. We're going to bring Samantha Mesa in on this. Samantha?
Good morning, everybody. Okay, I want to let you know Des Moines Police have tweeted out that the 2900 block of Grand Avenue, you see the tweet right there, officers are reporting all lanes of Grand Avenue are blocked by a down tree. There are high winds, they're saying, bringing down trees and limbs in areas of Des Moines. Some areas are experiencing power outages, as we have reported to you here. So to keep up to date on all of that, keep it right here. If you are just tuning in, again, 2900 block of Grand Avenue, this is Des Moines Police tweeting. Officers are reporting all lanes of Grand Avenue are blocked by a downed tree. Let's get back to your weather now.
Okay, Samantha, thank you. And we do have our newsroom that continues to dig for those reports, pour over some of those reports, and they'll be chiming in with us as we go through the duration of Good Morning Iowa. We are in our newscast, but we are bringing you severe weather coverage with this line of storms as it moves through. There's no pinpointed circulation. There's some broad rotation near Mingo right now, up through about Highway 330 that we would be watching for possible tornadic circulation in there. We did have a brief tornado down into Warren County. The area of circulation we'd be watching is now northeast of Swan and just to the west of Monroe, south of Prairie City. So if you're out east and north and east, Reesner, Monroe, you need to be seeking shelter. And eventually, as this one passes close to Newton to the south and to the east, this one is moving to the north and east with time at about 40 to 45 miles per hour, I believe was the last check that we had here. So we'll put a track on things. And while we are going out an hour time, that just make sure that these times are correct when they pop up on screen. So Monroe, this will be in the vicinity of you by 5:31, solely at 5:50, 6:03 in Grinnell with that individual circulation. So the other one up to the north, very close close to Mingo at the moment. That one is continuing to move to the east and north and east as well at about that 40 to 45 mile per hour range. You see the estimated times of arrival. Baxter, be in your safe place, please. It will arrive around 5:32 with the strongest of this storm. Melbourne by 5:40. Marshalltown should it hold on the northern edge of that wedge, coming in just prior to the 6 o'clock hour. Very strong winds tucked away in here too. We've been highlighting a lot of those individual circulations. That wind is screaming over Warren and Marion County and Lucas County, way up high in the sky. Some of that will translate to the ground. I'm not saying it's as strong as what we're observing on radar, but certainly it's a good indication that maybe up to 70 miles per hour will be possible in some of these spots under these thunderstorms. It does have a history of that, and we've seen a lot of reports, both from airports and observers out there denoting some of this stronger wind that has pushed through. Do have a report out of Pleasant Hill that there is some tree damage as well in that vicinity. So yeah, this line is doing some damage. We had 60 mile per hour winds coming in out of Webster City, so on the northern end of that line. And not only that, but we have those tornadic circulations as well. We're getting into Knoxville with that strongest of the wind, so we'll watch the airport there. Sheraton as well, down on the south end of this line. But even places like Iowa Falls, be prepared for this strong storm incoming. Marshalltown as well, you have a slew of tornado warnings just upstream from you. And it's right where those nooks come into place as we're watching for those individual circulations coming into view. That northern one is a little bit washed out as you start to see the warning get trimmed up just a little bit. I'll pull the velocity picture up, and it's tough to decipher where exactly that circulation would be. It may be in some higher levels that we're not quite looking at right now, but I think the best one at the moment looks to be down south of Prairie City. That would be the best indication, with the strongest wind showing up that we'd have a possible tornado there, Bree.
Yeah, I was looking earlier between Colo and Zeering, there was a tighter rotation, but it has broadened out a little bit. We do have that tornado in that area right now, that tornado warning, and that does extend until, let's take a look right here. It goes until, it's moving out at the east-northeast at 45 miles per hour, and this is going to continue this morning off to the northeast. But again, the rotation has really broadened out. We are getting some reports of a shed blown on Highway 92 down in Madison County. There's some images there. So we are still starting to see these damage reports coming on in to the area right now. Looking further down to the south, we just have these severe thunderstorm warnings that we need to also mention. There has been a history this morning of some hail, but by and large, the hail has not been the big story this morning. But we are getting some, if we can pull up hail detection down to the south, because we are seeing some hail pop up, some near the Columbia area into the Knoxville area. We're starting to see some shear or some hail in those areas as those storms move off to the east northeast. So we are seeing 1 inch hail come up on here, 3/4 inch hail. This would keep it sub-severe, but the storms to the south ahead of the line, that's where you're starting to see the hail. Back to the west with that line, we're seeing the wind being the primary threat, and then the brief touchdown. As Chris has said, we've had one confirmed that we know about, could possibly have seen another based on the possibility of a debris ball up near the Ames area. But this entire line is starting to move on the east side of I-35 at this point, and so it's continuing to move, and we're watching these areas with these notches. Those are the areas of concern. Within these bowing segments, you're going to have very strong winds, and with these very strong winds, they can just spin up on themselves. This is one of the larger bow segments that you can see, so this is going to be some of the most impactful wind as it moves off to the east. There's a lot of power outages as these storms are moving on through. We've seen a max wind so far today of 75 miles per hour in the Greenfield area, so it is knocking down the power. So if you are ahead of these storms, make sure you have everything plugged in and fully charged, so that as these move on through, you still can get a hold of us. Even if your TV's out, you can watch us on your phone. Here's a look right now, Monroe area. You can see that notch right there just to the north of Monroe. We're watching a little area further up to the north. This one's a little less pronounced as far as what the greens and the reds right next to each other, but certainly some strong winds with those bright colors. So as we look along the line, you're looking for bright and tight. Right now we're not seeing the bright and tight circulating, but we are still seeing maybe a little bit right here. There's a little bit of bright and tight in this area just to the southeast of Zeering right now. But this line,
Tough to decipher.
yeah, it is, and it's continuing to move off where you see these tan colors. That's going to be some really strong wind punching through as it moves on. So these storms are moving off to the east, northeast around 40, 45 miles per hour. They've slowed down. As they came into the state, they were going closer to 60 miles per hour. So they are starting to slow down. There were confirmed tornadoes, multiple in Nebraska. We have not had that here in Iowa. At this point, we've had one confirmed that we know about. And they should be brief spin-ups. That's the kind of setup that a QLCS or these Boeing segments, these line segments, that's generally the trend of the tornadoes with these types of setups, is just that brief touchdown and then it's back up. But yeah, they can spin very quickly just in these areas where you see those notches. So Monroe, just to the north of you, that's an area that we're watching. Just to the north of Baxter, that area is an area we're watching. Also keep in mind where you see these purples, that's going to be some large hail. So if you are in State Center, that hail is moving in your direction. Right now it's up in the cloud. Once it gets too heavy for the updraft to hold it, it will come down. And it does look like State Center is in the path of that area. Marshalltown, you guys need to be in your safe space as this line is going down into your area. As this line approaches, even if you're not in a tornado warning, it's just a good idea because these lines can produce these spin-ups with very little notice. So we do know where the leading edge is, and you just need to be aware that even if you're not in the tornado warning, it's like a deer in a crossing. Just because there's a crossing sign doesn't mean the deer crosses exactly at that point.
Sure, I want to jump in here, Bree, and take you back and just how quickly some of these can pop in. And I'll use our debris detector here back up through time. And you see near Indianola that little bit of a dot. That is indicative of a tornado being confirmed by radar. And around the same time, we had one showing up near Ames as well. Now, we haven't gotten any official confirmation of a tornado from the National Weather Service on that, but I am suspect of it coming in up there. You see around the same time, perhaps we had two brief tornadoes on the ground. So it's those little pockets, those circulations that we're going to be monitoring here. And sometimes they can even pop up in this kind of a scenario before we even get a warning on us. So that's why all of these severe thunderstorm warnings, if you look at the guts of the warning, which we don't show you because it's paragraphs long, at the tail end it says tornado possible, and that's what that's for. It means those little appendages that are trying to rush out ahead can sometimes spin up a brief tornado. And I'll tell you, usually in the scenario that we have here, should we see tornadoes, they are usually of the brief variety because of that very reason. They rush out ahead of the parent thunderstorm and then they're out of the thunderstorm. Now, that's not always the case, but so far it appears that that's what the scenario is holding for us today. This entire line from basically Highway 34 all the way up to the Minnesota border at this point is severe, with the possibility of 60 to 70 mile per hour winds along it. Widespread anywhere into that line, so we're watching. So new tornado warning is going to be coming out for near Pella. So that's not quite out yet, but it is going to be coming out, we were told. At 5:32, so there will be a new warning coming out here on the south end of the line. Let's take a look at this and see what we're looking at. It's another area of shearing coming into view. I'm going to highlight it here with the arrow. I'll pop it out. So this general area is shearing along the line, and you see that new tornado warning popping up. This is coming out of the Knoxville area, Lake Red Rock area and towards Pella. So right on the leading edge of that bow, though, that's one of those key areas that we normally watch to see a tornado form, right on the apex of the bow, which would be right here, as you see. And then at each side of the bow where the reflectivity kind of changes perpendicular once again. And that's exactly where we're seeing these tornadoes come to fruition so far this morning. So playing out to kind of as we'd expect for those key areas to watch. So that's why we have 4 tornado warnings going right now. You see each one kind of that Boeing segment, and then a little bit in between them, dirty, messy radar with warnings showing up. Perhaps I'll take that off and you can see it just a little bit better, but there's some distinct bows showing up here on screen. I'll highlight for you. You can ignore the arrowhead as it comes in, but you see those Boeing segments coming in here. And so in between those bows and right at the tip of the bows is where we're finding the worst of the circulations coming into view. So that new tornado warning, that does last until 6:15 this morning. It includes some of the communities like Harvey, Montezuma, New Sharon, and Pella. Northern portion of Mahaska County, southern Poweshiek included, and northeastern Marion County. This one is moving to the north and east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Near Pella here any moment, just right outside of the wedge I drew. Layton, 5:42, near New Sharon at 5:55, and eventually, should this one hold, we get way out towards What Shear around 6:12. Active morning here. We're continuing to track a line of severe storms as we move through the 5:30 hour of Good Morning Iowa. We are in special coverage here of severe weather. Let's go to Samantha Mesa, going to talk some power outages with us.
Hi, everyone. We're keeping you updated at all the ins and outs of this storm. Right now, we are tracking 16,000 customers in Des Moines without power, Mid-American, 21,000 in total in central Iowa. So massive power outages happening right now, thousands without power. And if you are at home without power, just keep streaming us on your phone if that is the way to get your news as we track power outages, also road closures. We've also covered that Des Moines police have tweeted that the 2900 block of Grand Avenue is shut down due to trees falling. There's a lot of issues we're navigating right now, but again, we have 21,000 people in total without power. We're going to keep tracking your weather now and keep you updated minute by minute as this storm continues.
All right. Thank you so much, Samantha. We're going to continue to dig with our newsroom. Some new reports to pass along with you, and some of these are staggering numbers coming in. Near Mingo, 70 to 80 mile per hour estimated winds coming in, and that is backed up by a 68 mile per hour wind to the west of Newton as this line moves through. Also being told that the tornado warning in Hardin and Marshall County will not continue downstream. So that is some welcome news. So we're focusing on the lower 3 tornado warnings as you see on screen here at the moment. But certainly, Bree, some impressive winds coming in all along this line, this segment of storms as it moves through. I'm seeing the worst of the Boeing segment right now coming out of Marion County, punching right into Mahaska County.
Yeah, you can see with the power outage map, the areas that have been hit already. We're seeing, as Samantha reported, 16,000 people in Polk County without power right now. So if you are ahead of this line, make sure everything is plugged in, fully charged. If the TV goes out, we can still be streamed on your phone. But yeah, absolutely, we're seeing these strong winds continuing to move off to the east, northeast. These storms are moving around 40, 45 miles per hour at this point. So besides that, we're also getting heavy downpours. There has been a couple of imping, some reports coming in the Pella area of quarter inch hail. So we're just down below severe limits with that, but there is just a little bit of hail with these storms starting to move off to the northeast. They're going to continue to move off, and thankfully they are starting to weaken just a little bit as far as we were seeing multiple tornadoes down in Nebraska. We saw multiple 70 mile an hour plus wind gusts over in Nebraska. And here in our state, they've been more 50 to 60 miles per hour. That doesn't mean there hasn't been isolated cases such as in Greenfield where we we had a 75-mile-an-hour wind earlier, and obviously there was a 70 to 80-mile-an-hour wind estimated by a fire official, I believe it was.
Yeah, and just to kind of show you the power of the wind, and it may not look to be the most significant, but we do have a photo we can show you of a shed that was damaged, and this is coming in out of Madison County, so it's been some time, a little bit of a delayed report coming in. But yeah, there's some wind out there, and that's some ground truth, and no doubt you'll probably find across all of central Iowa today some tree branches down, some other sorts of wind damage, property damage, things of the like. There are some very powerful winds popping into view here this morning, and we're watching it roll through. I'd say the worst of things right now between about Highway 30 and Highway 34, so US 30 and US 34 right through the heart of central Iowa. Of course, that's right where we have those tornado warnings popping into view as well. So I'm going to take a second here, let those winds populate in. These come in from a variety of sources, but these are weather stations, and they're not always going to show the most robust or extreme numbers. You have to keep in mind that the positioning of some of these may not be the best, and also they may not be updating here real time, but you do see some bigger numbers, especially back in the metro. You see how long sometimes it takes for those numbers to get in here, but that's a good indication of what we have. 55 miles per hour reported in Grimes, 54 in Ankeny, and then you heard towards, I believe, Mingo, it was that we had 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. So that's what we're dealing with here this morning. There's some areas, and it can be widespread along the line that we're dealing with wind getting up north of 70 miles per hour in estimate. I'd be confident in saying, at least on a widespread level, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds going to be expected along this line, and even a few pockets that may be stronger. And once you start climbing over 60, you start being concerned with property damage and tree damage that comes in. That seems to be about that magical number to where we start seeing it on a widespread scale. Now, if we do have damaged trees or rotted trees, wet grounds, which we certainly do, sometimes lower winds can even do damage as well. So a lot of factors that go into this. I will say the southern 2 tornado warnings are the ones we need to be watching.
Yeah, if we could zoom in, if we could get some velocity on the Reasoner area just to south of Newton. I was watching another product and it looked a little further north. Yeah, you can see this area right here. This is kind of the area that we need to watch right here. You can see those colors. They're not necessarily super bright, but they are tight in this area. So just to the southeast of Newton right now, this is moving off to the northeast. So this is going to approach the Highway 6 area, Highway 63 down the line. But we need to see Grinnell. You guys need to be in your safe space at this point because this is a tornado warned storm. This is where we're seeing kind of some circulation in the area. And these storms, even though it might not be a tornado, we're obviously talking about the power of the wind with these storms moving on through. Pella, you guys did have quarter-inch reports of hail coming through your area. You're getting the strongest of the wind. You can see this segment. This is the leading edge. This is where it really packs a punch as it moves on through. This is some of the reason we're seeing all these power outages is because the power of this wind as it initially moves on through is enough to knock the power out. We have thousands of people in the Des Moines Metro, up to 16,000 at last check without power. So if you are out ahead of this, get everything plugged in as this continues to move off to the east, northeast. So this area right here, just to the north of Pella in the Reasoner area, you guys need to be in your safe spot as these continue to move off to the northeast. Sully, Linville, you guys as well. This is the area where we were seeing some circulation on the velocity scope, and this is moving off to the northeast. So we're keeping an eye on that and seeing if it tightens up. And but certainly that's an area of concern right now, Chris.
Yeah, and looking up through the upper levels, there isn't a ton of upper level support as we move up through the scans, but there is some. These would generally be weaker returns showing in, but we've seen these brief tornadoes dot all across central Iowa, or at least the warnings, the circulations we've been watching, and they can drop down and move back up very quickly. So that's why we're getting these tornado warnings to come into view. This tornado warning up to the north into Marshall County is now run its course. It's out of the watch box. It will expire officially in 3 minutes, but the threat has now moved out further ahead into northern Marshall County, getting into Hardin County, and as we've already mentioned, that will not be reissued. The threat deemed not quite as significant as before, Bree.
Yeah, we have another report coming in out of Colfax, 68-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and that is in Jasper County right now. So we're continuing to watch these wind reports really just stack up as they move off to the east. Let's get a check of those power outages right now. I'm seeing 12,580 without power in Polk County right now. The Dallas County area, 4,000 without power. As we look into Madison, 859 without power. So it is an issue. Calhoun County, 2,400 people without power at this point. So we are watching these numbers stack up as these storms move off to the east. They are racing off to the east at this point. Another county to keep in mind, Warren, 2,300 people without power at this point. So out ahead of this, make sure that you have everything plugged in, charged, and ready to go. Make sure as this moves on through, I mean, these are very strong straight line winds, so a basement's a good place to be when these go in. And as these bowing segments bow out, they do cause these brief spin ups, and some of these debris ball signatures have been one scan. So we're just seeing it briefly touch down and then go back up, and they can just pop down quickly. Right now, Chris is highlighting some areas of concern.
I think those are probably the best areas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of turbulent motions in there.
Right, yeah. I would say up here, this is kind of the area that I was watching earlier to see that. So Sully, and this is moving again up to the northeast. I don't know if we want to put another track on that just so people
Sully area?
just so people have a heads up of what's coming your direction. So this is continuing to move off to the northeast. Linville, 551. So in the next about 5-6 minutes, it's going to be in your neck of the woods. Montezuma after that, so about 6:08. So that you guys still have advanced time, 20 minutes or so to get a plan in action. Brooklyn's down the line from there if this does hold together. So this is going to move off to the northeast, and right now we've got the news team working together. And Sam, what do you have?
All right, Bree. So I want to update you. 31st, I-235, many trees are down. The power is down in that area. DMPD is warning everyone to be clear of that area. So right now, this is scanner reports. We have not confirmed yet with DMPD, but I also do want to let you know, DMPD has tweeted high winds are bringing down trees and limbs in many areas of Des Moines. The 2900 block of Grand Avenue, you see that tweet right there. Officers are reporting all lanes of Grand Avenue. All lanes are blocked by downed trees. So again, if you are just tuning in, what we are learning right now over the scanner, 31st I-235, many trees down, power down in that area, and other road closures happening there. So again, scanners, we're hearing that over the scanners. We're working to confirm that with DMPD. But again, also 2900 block of Grand Avenue, officers reporting all lanes of Grand Avenue are blocked to downed trees. Now this is because of high winds. They're tweeting are bringing down trees. So be very careful. There's a lot of power outages we're tracking as well. And with that, if you do not have to go anywhere, don't. Staying where you are, finding a safe place to be right now is the safest thing you can do. Again, that is 2900 block of Grand Avenue. Officers are reporting all lanes are blocked in that area. And with that, we're going to continue getting your weather updates as these storms move through.
Sure, Samantha. And I just tried pulling up the 235 at 31st camera, and it's actually down at the moment. So it may be signifying that there was some strong wind through there, perhaps a localized power outage. I did check the other cams surrounding that, and I didn't see anything significant. But yeah, they're saying that there is, you said debris down on the interstate there. So debris down on I-235. We'll continue to dig into the newsroom. Bree, you just mentioned an area of interest to me, kind of behind the scenes here, that you're concerned in.
Yeah, there's a couple actually that I just want to poke at real quickly. If you go up to the north, first of all, there's one just to the west of Hampton near Latimer and Coulter. It is in the severe thunderstorm warning part of the town, so not a tornado warning storm, but there was a couplet there that in this latest scan is kind of broadened out just a little
just
bit
to the
more.
west of Hampton.
Yeah, this is kind of the area that we're watching right here. This is not under a tornado warning, but as we've been saying all morning, these briefly put down, quickly put down a tornado, a quick spin up. So that's an area of concern. There was one just right on the edge of the area, but yeah, as we scan down this area right here west of Kellogg.
Yeah, I'd say west of Kellogg
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
There is a small area of rotation. We have the greens going back to the west and the reds coming to the east. So that's right along Highway 6 there near Kellogg. And then you, I think, said another one down by
Watchier,
Watchier.
yeah, it's just on the edge right here, Rose Hill to
Pretty broad.
Watchier. It is broad, yep. So this is just another area, and this is moving out of our area, but still something to cover if you are in the north. If it's just north of Rose Hill, so that's kind of the area, but heavy downpours and some strong winds moving through that area nonetheless. So just be aware that all of this is heading your way, and this is causing power outages as it goes. So just be aware these are very strong winds. We do have this tornado warning. What time does this expire? Does this continue on till?
Sure. Let me get it sampled for you. I believe it's 6 o'clock, 6:15, excuse me,
All right.
6:15 for that tornado warning over Mahaska County. If you're back in Pella, you're clear.
You're clear. Harvey's clear. Yeah, the backside of this is already in the clear, but it is the front half kind of on the east side of this Highway 63 that we're watching for the potential of a spin up in that area. But again, we do have these severe thunderstorm warnings, and all of these have that special tag with tornado possible because these are capable of just dropping down a brief tornado. So this area right here, this is just south of New Sharon, just to the southeast, south of Highway 63. That's an area that we're watching. Again, this is some broad rotation right north of Rose Hill and west of Watchier at this point. That is another area of concern with this storm as it moves off to the northeast around 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, the velocity data kind of lagging just a little bit. That's been unfortunately kind of an issue we've been dealing with all morning. But that shearing zone, I'll go ahead and pull it up here in just a second. It is right where that lowering of green, so you can kind of see that shearing zone coming through. Here comes the latest data, and that's a much better look right here. And this is probably the best area that we would have to see a tornado drop down. So very near New Sharon.
New Sharon, just to the southeast, yeah, just south of 63 right there.
And we're heading towards Gibson, anywhere in northeastern Mahaska County. Please seek shelter here. This is probably the best area that we've seen in some time. And I'll even say just a little bit south of there, we'd be watching northwest of Rose Hill. And as Bree previously pointed out, near Watchier, kind of out ahead in that isolated cell, there's a little bit of some broad rotation going on too, but emphasis on the broad. All through this entire line now, this is the only tornado warning we have, but along this entire line, we're finding wind gusts running, especially into the 60 to 70 mile per hour range, but we have heard of higher, of 70 to 80 miles per hour near Mingo. Peak wind coming in out of the Newton Airport now to 64 miles per hour. Some debris in the roadway at Highway 175 and Highway 175 and Highway 65 north and east of Hubbard. So that would be getting up into the northern section of that line. Hardin County, I believe, is where that one is. Some small hail in there too, running way up north. And Bree, I think that's that circulation you were kind of telling with earlier. They're watching up into Cerro Gordo County. So yeah, really anywhere along this line, there's going to be some pockets of circulation. So National Weather Service is watching up here, and this is getting out of the local 5 area, but you can see there's another little circulation up there as well. It's just littered all along this line, just kind of dirty little pockets pulling in here that we're trying to track.
Yeah, we also had a report come in out of Webster City. So this was at 5:38 this morning. Large tree branches are down, power outages, and a semi crashes due to the winds on I-35.
Okay.
So this is not the time to go to work. This is the time to just let this storm pass. This is coming with very strong winds. We've seen anything from 50 to 75 mile an hour wind reports throughout the morning. Newton was just clocked in at 64 miles per hour at the airport. So, and there was a report in Montezuma, which is on the north end of one of those warnings that had some strong wind coming in that area as well. So pea-sized hail also being reported in Montezuma, which is on the north edge of that tornado warned storm. But yeah, down to New Sharon, that area, it is broad rotation, but you can definitely see the bright and the tight just to the southeast of New Sharon at this point.
So it's shearing a little bit. We have shear detection up there. You see that dark blue color. And so the greens are quite literally going towards the radar site. And I'll just plop a few of the vectors on the screen here. You notice these winds are just going opposite directions in these general areas. So as this happens, we're looking for those pinpointed brightenings, and that is usually an indication, and say something just north and west of Rose Hill, right here. We'd watch there. We'd watch east of New Sharon, and that would be the most suspect areas to see a spin up of a tornado right there. So those are the areas we're watching. Northeastern Mahaska County at the moment, and I'm just going to bring the warning up on. And you see those two circulations that I just pinpointed, they're there. Those are those areas that we're going to be watching that lines up well with the shear detection, kind of the effect of opposing winds right there. Nothing pinpointing. If it did, we'd probably rise up into that cyan color or maybe even purple. But those are going to be those spots that we're watching. So northeastern Mahaska County, please continue to seek shelter. We continue on getting into Keokuk County as well. What shear? You'd be prepared for this should the warning be extended. Gibson as well. This will be south of the Montezuma area, but maybe Deep River will watch for you. Not too much further south than Montezuma, but these are the areas of circulation that look the most intriguing to me at the moment. Bree?
Yeah, we have another report coming in, Prairie City and Jasper County, 75-mile-an-hour wind gust in that area that came in just about five minutes ago. And then we also have another report of overturned semis on Highway 20. This is up in Buckeye in Hardin County. So obviously these high-profile vehicles, we've seen several reports of semis overturned at this point, and with 75-mile-an-hour gusts moving through, 65-mile-an-hour gusts moving through, that is to be expected. So stay off of the roadways until these pass. I mean, this is a quick moving line. The leading edge of this storm seems to be in and out as they're moving 40 to 45 miles per hour through the area. As they came in, they were roaring. They were 50 to 60 mile an hour moving storms. So they have slowed down a little bit, but they're still moving through quickly. You just need to be patient. Just give them some time to move on through the area. But yeah, we're starting to see several reports with the 70 to 75 mile an hour winds, and that's in those Boeing segments, those areas that just kind of push out extra. You can see one down just to the east of Oskaloosa. These Boeing segments are those areas with just that extra push of wind as they move on through. So we're going to continue to watch this. As you put those into motion, you can see it just kind of jets out, and that's where you're going to see that really strong initial push of wind moving through the area, and that's where we're getting those 60 to 70 to 75 mile an hour wind gusts as they move off to the east.
That is a huge tornado warning until 6:45. So my thought process here with this is they're tracking multiple circulations, and you don't see it too often, but this is what I would call a broad brush tornado warning. It's not pinpointed on any one circulation, but there's multiple ones all across this leading edge that we're going to be watching coming out of Mahaska County. So Keokuk County now involved in this. That's the only county in the Local 5 area that is included, but it does extend further into Iowa and Washington counties as well. So this is getting to the eastern section of the Local 5 viewing area. We'll go back to that velocity picture, and I'm going to show you via the scope kind of those areas of circulation we are watching. It's kind of pinpointed
New
right
Sharon,
there.
yeah, east of New Sharon. We're starting to get into Keokuk County a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of the area that we're watching. On another product that I have, it's very much, you can definitely see the bright and tight just to the east of New Sharon, to the southwest of Barn City area.
There is definitely in those areas that I highlighted there with the arrows.
Yeah, there it is.
What we're watching. We'll back into the Des Moines radar and kind of brought this is another version of a velocity picture to watch. So riding east on Highway 92 near Rose Hill, continue to seek shelter. This off to the east towards Sigourney, and then north and east of Oskaloosa, north of Rose Hill. Right at the tips of those arrows, kind of the areas that we are watching all along that curve to the northwest, you can see the shear detection is hinting at that area where we're finding those opposing winds at the moment. Briefly, I'll just pop over to debris detection. We've only seen a couple of suspect areas here this morning pop in. Not seeing anything super obvious there. We do have more power data to talk to. We'll go to Sam.
22,000 customers without power right now in Des Moines. So if you are in the dark, you are not alone. A lot of folks, thousands, 22,000 from Mid-American that are without power. If you can continue just streaming on your phone, we'll keep giving you the latest updates to just keep you safe as best you can through this. And a reminder, we are also tracking road closures. 2900 block of Grand Avenue, officers reporting all lanes of Grand Avenue are blocked by a downed tree. And I'm also seeing on Iowa DOT, Iowa 92 in both directions. The road is blocked due to debris on the roadways. So this is about a mile east of the Sandyville area, County Road S31. Seeing a lot of debris on roads. Again, 2900 block of Grand Avenue. Des Moines Police tweeting this. Officers are reporting all lanes of Grand Avenue are blocked by a downed tree. So if you are in the dark without power right now, just stay where you are. And we're going to continue updating you. Just keep your phone locked in, streaming our live updates. And let's continue to give you your weather updates now.
Sure. And I want to take you to a bit of a circulation there. Looks like over Spring Valley,